Good morning, knuckleheads. Good afternoon. Good evening. As I said last night, I'm going to do a little bit more on these electric vehicles. So that way you guys can make up your mind on what you guys want. There we go. I'm getting this thing done. Hey, Dragon, how you doing, sweetheart? Hey, Daniel, how you doing, my friend? Uh, Yeah, like I said, I'm going to sit there and I gotta refresh this. Something's just not right here. All right, now let's hopefully this works. I have a little bit of technical difficulties, so bear with me. But like I said, tonight I'm going to sit there and I'm going to discuss a little bit more about your electric vehicle, what it takes, a little bit more in depth to see if this is what you really want to have. And I can tell you, for the most part, you would not get me to have one. Because, like I said, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to bring this to you. Hey, SNS brother, how you doing, man? I'm bringing this to you guys because, like I said, this is something that everybody needs to see. Because this green facade that they're doing, like I said, I do my homework. I sit there and I go into depth. I bring everything out because that's what everybody needs. Something that just doesn't cover part of that little issue that gives your deal that slight chance of hope. Nah, I go deep. I go so deep, I'm tickling your tonsils. Hey, Ronald, how you doing, brother? Good to see you again. But like I said, I'm bringing this to you guys because, like I said, this is something that everybody is affected by. The world is not being saved by these electric vehicles. Hey, D Ben, how you doing, hon? Like I said, I'm not knocking them per se. Like I said, your choice. What you do for you is your choice. If you're able to sleep better at night by your choices, trying to save the planet, great. I'm all for you. I'm all for saving my Mother Earth. But also go in depth. We need more knowledge of what's going on. Because one of the things that they don't tell you, yeah, the electric vehicles are good. We, as consumers, need to know the truth. And one of the things that they don't tell you is that all of the resources that it takes to bring your cars to you. And I seen something earlier that just really got my attention. And like I said, I go in depth. I sit there and I bring this to you. I'm not just a one sided little bits and pieces here and there. No. I take hours out of my days to sit there and bring shit for you. Because, like I said, we need knowledge. Knowledge is power. And right now, there's very little of it because everybody's going in blind. They're sitting there, they're looking at the government for handouts. They're sitting there going, oh, the government's saying this. The government's saying this, so it must be true. No, we need more knowledge. And so I was asked about the electric vehicles. So that made my attention grow. That made me sit there and really think, okay, why? If you have an electric vehicle, let me know in the comment. How far do you have to go to find a usable, working, serviceable charging port for your vehicle? Let me know how far you have to go. Now, I know you look on your app, you know, your little phone, you're required to have an app that's tied into your car. So that way you guys can find out where the nearest charging systems are. Or you guys have those little dashboard shit giving you directions. And you guys get there. Hey, one stop, good seeing you again. Long time no see, man. But a lot of the things that they don't tell you is that a lot of these are not there. They don't update their system. They don't sit there and tell you, oh, these are no longer there for whatever reason. All they tell you is they are there. So now you're scrambling and scraping all over the place. Sit there and have all of these things. You are not saving a thing at this point. So I want to get into this real quick. All right, let's see which one is it. Yes, this one. Bear with me for a second. Hey, Betty, how you doing, sweetheart? Hold on this. Thank you for showing up. Let me do something real quick. I'm still having technical difficulties, so um, let's go there. Do that. All right on. I bet that's going to be exciting for you. Hey, Wanda, how you doing, hon? I'm going into a little bit more detail about last night's discussion about the e-vehicles. Like I said, I want to bring this in depth for you guys. You know, those that have electric vehicles and stuff like that, or wanting to buy one. Because, like I said, we need knowledge. We need more people knowing what it is. Hey, Betty, you said that you have a electric vehicle, right? Tell me about your chargers. Hey, Grizz, how you doing, brother? Yeah, well, like I said, I'm wondering, because one of the things that I found, and several of my friends that have electric vehicles, they have the problem with those charging systems. Because I know you guys got apps that tells you where they are. Yeah, because I know a buddy of mine, he came in from Switzerland and he was down in Nebraska. Well, like I said, I'm going to get into this here in a moment. I'm going to deal with something real quick. Uh, Once it pops up. Where you is, where you is, where you is. This is not your playground to pull your bullshit. I'm going to sit there and make this clear before I get into this. This is not your place to pull your bullshit. If you want to start your shit, you go to your other channel because I will deal with it accordingly. Now, let's get back into the topic at hand. Because, like I said, as consumers, we need knowledge. Social media is not giving it to you. Government sure as the hell ain't giving it to you. So people like me will give it to you 100. Because like I said, I go hours on this. I look into this. I bring it up. I sit there and I make sure that you guys see what you guys are getting. And right now, I am not. Yeah, how far do you have to go for? Hey, hillbilly brother, how you doing, man? And I did give someone a 24-hour timeout. If the person's other challenge comes in, give that one a 24-hour as well. Yeah. One thing that I'm going to bring up real quick is something that I had seen. Now, where is that? Where is that? Where is that? All right. Um, how hard is it to always find chargers, charging systems? Because I know a lot of people have issues with those because they have your app, on your phone or on a little dashboard, whatever, that tells you where the charging systems are. Yeah. How readily available are they? I mean, I know you got them everywhere, but uh, one of the things that I found out is a lot of those chargers, charging systems are no longer where they should. Because like I said, a buddy of mine came down from Switzerland, and he's in Nebraska for about 2 weeks. And he got off the plane. The only thing that they had was one of those electric vehicles. He thought it was cool, he's doing his job, all this, wanting to save the planet. On those little apps, when he grabbed the phone, he sat there and he was looking. It says, okay, go over here, go over here. A lot of them were gone. You know, I know, and a lot of people don't have that though. That's the problem because of the cost. Um, I'll get into that again shortly, because I'll bring this to you guys slowly. I'm bringing it to you guys as it comes up. And let's see here real quick. Uh, okay, let's see. Real quick. Let's see real quick.
Lithium is a useful metal. It spends its entire existence trying to get rid of its one outer electron, but crucially, this reaction can be both controlled and reversed. That means, properly configured, the metal can discharge energy when needed, take in more energy, and then discharge that energy. Essentially, it can act as a battery. It's only been a few decades since lithium-ion batteries reached commercial feasibility, but in that time, they have become the power source of choice for portable electronics thanks to their perfect blend of safety and lightness. However, the latest major tech boom, the latest infatuation of Silicon Valley and Wall Street alike, is centered around the largest consumer electronics product to date: electric vehicles. And pretty soon, we're going to need a lot of them. The UK, for example, has committed to banning internal combustion car sales by 2030. To replace its 31.5 million vehicles, about 236,000 metric tons of lithium carbonate are needed. To produce 236,000 metric tons of lithium carbonate, every lithium mine in the world would have to devote its output to this one use for 9 months. And there are a whole lot more countries, a whole lot more lithium applications, and a whole lot more growth in the forecast. While the industry and its issues may be complex, the way in which battery-grade lithium is produced is not. 4 countries dominate the industry. Argentina, Chile, Australia, and China combined account for 92% of the globe's production. The metal is extracted from the ground at massive sites like the Greenbushes mine in Western Australia, which is the world's largest hard rock lithium mine. The site was
Now, look at that hole. Look at that hole right there. That is telling you right there, are you saving the planet? That hole looks mighty big to me. I mean, that's just one of the mines.
was selected due to the abundance of spodumene in the area, which is a mineral that contains large concentrations of lithium. Once the raw material is extracted from the ground, is transported 2.5 hours north to the Kwinana lithium plant near Perth, a facility majority owned and operated by.
Now, before I get into this next section here, real quick, look at this. If y'all remember last night, there's one country that I stated that was the biggest owner of a lot of these mines. And you'll see with no shock on this one.
A Chinese company, Tianqi Lithium, which is responsible for almost extracted from the ground, is transported 2.5 hours north to the Kwinana lithium plant near Perth, a facility majority owned and operated by a Chinese company, Tianqi Lithium.
Now, keyword, a Chinese company, Chinese corporation, means that if their headquarters is in China, they don't have to abide by the countries they're in's laws. Now, we mentioned China already. Many times. This is not going to be the end of times you hear China. But like I said, you seen that hole. Just gets worse.
Which is responsible for almost half of the world's production of the metal. Once refined, lithium hydroxide and other compounds are sold to battery manufacturers, which in about 3/4 of the cases means one of 3 companies: LG Chem, CATL, or Panasonic. The problem, however, is the world's solution. In addition to the UK, Iceland, Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Israel, Singapore, and South Korea have each committed to banning the sale of internal combustion passenger vehicles within the next decade. Adding up their annual passenger vehicle sales numbers from 2019, that means the absolute base case demand for EVs a decade from now will be 9.5 million per year. Just to reach that, EV production would have to quintuple, but even the most conservative forecasters don't dare tread anywhere close to a number as low as 9.5 million in 2032. The market is waking up to what this means for lithium demand. Across 2021, seaborne lithium prices rose from around $8,000 per metric ton to over $30,000, a 400%.
Now get that. Now get that. Within the next decade, there are several countries that decided to go away from fossil fuel vehicles, normal combustion vehicles. Okay. That means that there's more mines that has to be built. There's more people that needs to be out there. There's more people that needs to be working. And I showed you guys a little bit of last night on the bill. You seen last night those kids, boys and girls. The youngest one in that one field was 4. These countries that demand to go total green within the next decade, you just seen that last night. Like I said, you guys need knowledge. We need knowledge because knowledge is power. And the government does not want you to be smart. Government does not want you to think for yourself. They want you solely dependent on them. And I'm sorry, but for me, the government can kiss my brown ass. I refuse to be one of their sheep. I refuse to conform to their way of thinking because they work for us, not the other way around. It is not the other way around. We don't work for the government, they work for us. We have the power to stand up and put them in their place. So that's why I'm bringing you guys the knowledge. My internet's already been screwing up a little bit here and there, but
Percent rise in a mere 12 months, and lithium is hardly the only crucial metal for lithium ion battery production. It's just the one in the name. Cobalt and nickel are also critical to most commercially available versions of these batteries, and
now see that? That is a full size truck. One of those big, huge movers. Those are huge mining trucks. They're not electric.
the situation is hardly different with them. Cobalt prices doubled across 2021, while nickel rose to its highest price in a decade. So the world needs a lot more metals, but right now, it's hard to believe the world's going to get them. The biggest hurdle the industry faces is exemplified here: Thacker Pass, Nevada. Thacker
Now,
Pass
here's
is
where it's
located
going to
in
get
one of the most
interesting.
sparsely populated areas of the country. It's a half-hour's drive to the nearest store, an hour to the nearest supermarket, and 3 to the nearest Starbucks. The few roads that exist in the area are lucky to see a few cars an hour traveling to and from the various remote farms, ranches, and communities dotting northern Nevada. That could soon change, though. 250 miles or 400 kilometers to the south is the Silver Peak lithium mine. This is the nation's only currently operating major lithium mine, despite the fact that the US is one of the largest EV markets and home to the world's largest EV manufacturer. China, also a major EV market home to major EV manufacturers, has made significant headway in building up its domestic lithium production capacity, and the country's companies also have significant presences at the world's other major lithium production sites. This has come
Mhm.
to concern those in charge in the US. Therefore, sights are set on Thacker Pass, home to the US's largest.
See, again, hey, Rebel, how you doing, my friend? Come on in. See, like I said, we heard a lot about Chinese companies last night. Tonight, we're hearing a couple more. Now, China has the biggest footprint in all the world's lithium mines and a lot of other mines. That's why they're so adamant about buying the U.S. Knowledge is key, people. Stop being sheep. Stop sitting there wondering what the government's going to do for you next. Government doesn't do shit for you. So let's step it up a notch, little bitches. Not you guys. Mean people going green. Hey, ICB, how you doing, my friend? Come on in. You know, we're getting into a real crucial part here, real quick, and I want you guys to really listen to this next part because this next part is another crucial for our survival, human survival.
Lithium deposits. The site could single-handedly propel the US into the ranks of major lithium producers, but getting a mine up and running there has proved difficult. The way in which major lithium deposits are distributed across the world is rather cruel. Overwhelmingly, they're located in arid regions with little water availability, like Nevada. Thacker Pass receives less than 10 inches or 25 centimeters of rain a year. However, the extraction and processing of lithium requires enormous quantities of water. It's expected that operations at the proposed Thacker Pass lithium mine would require 3,224 gallons or 12,204 liters of water per minute, roughly equivalent to the contents of a backyard above ground pool. However, the extraction and processing of lithium requires enormous quantities of water. It's expected that operations at the proposed Thacker Pass lithium mine would require 3,224 gallons or 12,204 liters of water.
Now, you guys heard that, right? 3,000 plus gallons of water a minute. Yeah, just for his ego. But you're talking about arid places where there's very little water out there. And the mines require 3,000 plus almost 4,000 gallons of water a minute. Let that sink in for a second. Almost 4,000 gallons of water a minute.
Water per minute, roughly equivalent to the contents of a backyard above ground pool. That water would be used to pump into the ground as part of the extraction process, during refinement, and to conduct necessary dust control at the site. To get this water, the mine would have to pump it out of the ground using wells, but every acre foot of water in the area is strictly allocated given the degree of.
Now, hold on. Again, like I said, we're going to get into a little bit of a more. As a lame douche, it always says tit for tat, right? There's always somewhere, some way, there's always trying to be some compromise between this. At what price are we willing to take? At what price?
Scarcity. So the mine has to buy up water rights from others in order to gain the legal right to use it. What that means, however, is that there's a direct trade off between one use and another, and in this case, the other use is predominantly ranching and farming, two key tenants to the local economy. In addition, there's a chance the project could do far more to further the inaccessibility of water in northern Nevada. The U.S. Bureau of Land Management's environmental impact study for the project found that it presented the distinct possibility of leaking unacceptable levels of arsenic into the area's groundwater table, which could take the entire region's water supply offline for hundreds of years. In an area.
Now, you guys heard that, right? This is not me saying this. So, therefore, don't blame me for saying this. It could sit there and devastate the water system. There's already problems with that. We've already seen that last night on one of the videos. How much more are we willing to fight? Like I said, knowledge is key. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is everything. So I'm hoping by doing these videos, that y'all will sit there and be able to stand up and start thinking for yourselves. Don't be a fucking sheep. We used to have balls, but now they're all on our fucking ears for the most part. Me, mine's still right where they belong. I'm not afraid to say how it is the way it is. When you got this, that's why China is buying all of our farmlands for. Iraq, Iran, Russia. They're buying stock in our farmlands. Why? Because right there, right there. Is that what you guys want?
Area where the availability of water undergirds almost all economic activity, that has people seriously concerned. The issues only compound on top of that. As Thacker Pass is, of course, a mountain pass, it acts as a wildlife corridor between the Double H and Montana mountains, two biodiversity hotspots. Therefore, the environmental impact study found the project likely to destroy or deteriorate thousands of acres of habitat used by the pronghorn antelope, sage grouse, golden eagle, and other unique species. For interrelated reasons, the project also has a number of
Now, again, this is not my word. This is not me saying this. This is people that are saying this themselves. The ramifications of this will devastate a whole different ecosystem that's already fragile. Again, like I said, you guys need knowledge. Knowledge is power. That's why I'm not scared to bring it to you guys.
local indigenous tribes concerned, the most vocal of which is the Fort McDermott Paiute and Shoshone tribe. They say that during the era of American soldiers rounding up and shipping indigenous people off to reservations, two of the tribe's families hid out in the shelter Thacker Pass provided. So they directly attribute the continued existence of their tribe to the area. In addition, they consider the pass a sacred site, in part because of a historic massacre they say occurred there. This
Yep.
assertion, however, was directly challenged in a court case related to the mine project, and the judge rejected the claim, citing a lack of evidence. To add to their opposition, the tribe put forward evidence linking the development of similar resource extraction projects, which are predominantly staffed by men, to increases in the rape and murder of indigenous women in nearby areas. Even just looking at these.
Now, again, this is what they want. I've done a few videos on tribal laws, but they got kind of struck and taken down. But I will do more videos on those. And like I said, I'm hoping that you guys are having fun, enjoying your night, learning something new. And by the time I'm done, I'm hoping that you guys really understand more of what's going on. Get a better in depth look at how things are being done. I'm going to go hold this one for a second. I'm going to go to another video because it needs to be brought up as well. And like I said, knowledge is key. We bring out that. I was always told never go half-assed because it don't do it a damn bit good. And one of the things that I'm going to get into here in a second, once I can finish letting it low up. Like I said, I'm having slight internet issues, so kind of help bear with me for a second while Okay. What is that? That's that one. There we go. Oop.
Is always about electric cars or autonomous vehicles. It's easy to talk about a topic that you can relate to something that you do every day. And as we know, majority of Americans commute to work with automobiles every day. In the last few years, car manufacturers like Tesla, Volkswagen, GM, Ford, and other big manufacturers have been pushing electric cars as a green solution to many of our problems when it comes to tackling climate change. While I do believe that electrifying everything is a step in the right direction, I also believe that it simply will not be enough. Oftentimes, in ads and promotional materials, electric cars are praised as solving the fossil fuel dependency, or bringing on an era of sustainability, or something along those lines. But a lot of what these companies usually say is exactly what they want it to be. It's marketing, baby. We will simply innovate our way out of everything. Do not change your lifestyle in any way. Just buy our product and innovate. But let's actually talk about electric cars.
Well,
This dude is so weird. It's funny. I could not stop but laughing listening to this guy. It was just priceless as hell.
As I said in the beginning, electric cars are a step in the right direction. They are superior to gas cars in a few different metrics, but they really only start becoming more environmentally friendly around 3 to 5 years of ownership, and this is all dependent on their battery size. This is because electric cars have a lot more rare earth materials in their batteries. These materials take a lot of CO2 to mine and to process, so even if your electric vehicle doesn't produce any CO2 emissions while running, it produces quite a few tons in the first place while getting manufactured. If you'd like
Keyword. Keyword. Your vehicle may not produce any CO2 footprint, whatever, but the manufacturing does. So again, like I said, this is not me saying it. Don't get me.
to see a more in-depth video on this topic with the math presented, I recommend you go watch Engineering Explains video on it. But okay, let's try thinking about something else. What if we use our Mega Mondo galaxy brains here and just imagine that we didn't need cars in the first place? And here lies a fundamental problem. No matter what type of vehicle you use, it is simply not going to be sustainable. And I know what you're thinking now. You're probably thinking, oh, well, we got to invest in future technologies like autonomous vehicles. That way, no one individually owns a car. No. That's not what I mean. Because it's not just the vehicles that aren't sustainable, it's everything that cars use. Also, slight tangent off the script here. I don't give a fuck if you live in bumfuck nowhere. Like, if you're a farmer, of course you're going to need a car. I'm talking about like the 95% of Americans or whoever that lives in like the metro area of a city that like commutes everywhere in a car. Of course, if you live off in the wilderness in the middle of nowhere, yeah, cars will probably always exist. But like, most people live in metro areas of cities. Anyway.
Keyword. Most people live in cities and they transport within that city. A lot of people don't go out of it unless it's to neighboring cities. They can help with their emissions or whatever the hell it is by using more sustainable resources like public transport. Use those trains, those buses, those subways. If the infrastructure was a little bit more geared properly, then it would be a little bit better. It'd be able to sit there and hold on to that. Hey, Tito, how you doing, my friend? We need to get together and start making changes where they're needing to be made.
Cars need infrastructure to work properly and to be efficient. This can cover the basics like neighborhood streets, parking, and commuting. And of course, these things would exist even if cars weren't popular. Local streets always existed to get materials in and out of neighborhoods easy, and city squares have always existed to provide room for different urban activities. It's when we start looking at car infrastructure do these things really get supersized and blown out of proportion immediately. Here's a great example of a city that still has a lot of parking lots in its downtown. This is Denver, Colorado, and every single one of those yellow spots is just parking for metal boxes. It serves no other purpose. Each piece of yellow land is wasted to do a singular thing, just park boxes. And I guarantee that most of the time, those places don't even have cars parked in them. Instead, we should be building more amenities for people that live downtown.
Now, y'all see that, right? And if you go into all these major cities, you see all these parking lots mostly empty. %90 of them are empty, or at least somewhere up in that range. There's far better things than that land could be used for to help build the infrastructure, to sit there and make a difference. But then again, who am I to say? I'm just an asshole that thinks differently, that thinks on ways of using the land and how to make things better. I've got an engineering mind.
Buildings can be complex too. Not only can you have a store or school on the bottom floor, but you can also have living spaces or apartments on top of them. This is what's called mixed use development, and it's more walkable and bikeable. You don't need a car if the city is built the correct way. Mixed use can be really dense, but it can also be cute and fit into small towns perfectly too.
You
And if
know,
you want to know more about that, check out one of my videos on good suburbs here. Anyway, I'll talk more about this later. Again, let's talk about housing. Cars affect housing directly and indirectly, and electric cars are no different. They can affect housing directly through requiring driveways and parking lots, which, along with needing space for parking cars, also needs additional space for larger roads to handle more cars for those parking lots.
yep.
Then, needing more space for those roads and parking forces a lot of services and buildings to be farther apart, continuing the vicious cycle of needing larger and larger roads and forcing everything farther apart with parking. This all compounds itself when people find that they can live farther and farther away from the center of towns and cities in some isolated suburban development away from it all. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. This is fine, though.
Now, what you guys think about this guy right here? Hey, good night, Betty. You have a good one. Sleep tight. Thank you for coming in. And
people can live the way they want. Look at this car hater. He's such an urbanist dickhead. He doesn't understand that not everyone has access to transit and not everyone lives in a city. Here's where the rant comes. It doesn't matter where you live. These people are consistently in the largest group with the highest carbon footprint of anyone in the entire world. Also, it doesn't matter what country you live in. If you live in a car-dependent suburb, your carbon footprint is automatically higher. And that
Yep.
might not be your fault. You might have just bought a home in that place because it was one of the only affordable places near your job. But
Yep.
understand that you should be trying to change these places for the better if you do live in one. Let me remind you that we are all affected by climate change. This planet is your home, and it is my home, and I hope that you treat it as such. Also, climate change doesn't give a fuck about what political party you're in. Anyway, these suburbs consistently lose value over time. See Not Just Bikes video on this topic. Beyond that, all of this car-centric infrastructure is extremely inefficient compared to a city or to a dense suburb. All of this...
Now, we're getting into a good subject right here. We're getting into a good part right here. And I want you guys to think for a second and really look at this part. Okay? Because this one shows a little bit more depth.
Car infrastructure forces your water and sewer systems to be longer, contain more water, and use more energy to pump all of that water around. Same with electrical systems. More wire, more transformers, and more transmission losses over the distance that is needed to be traveled. You also need more streets, more asphalt, more concrete, more traffic lights, even more street lights, and with less density, all of this stuff adds up and it serves less and less people. Even if you come from this as an economic standpoint, it's way more economic to build walkable and bikeable towns. Disconnected suburban developments will always be incredibly inefficient, and they only exist because we make all of these terrible design philosophies just to service the automobile. And like I said, electric cars will not change any of this. And
like I said, you guys are hearing it. We need more knowledge. This is one of the things that I wanted you guys to do. Yep. There we go. There we go. Like I said, I'm bringing these to you guys because I want you guys to see what it really takes. The video that we just seen tonight, well, that in itself should say something. Because see, even though you're buying your electric vehicle, you're only seeing part of that. Hey, I agree with you there. But like I said, we need to look at the bigger picture. And like I said, it took me hours and hours to come up with all these videos that I'm bringing up to you guys. Because we need this. We need more knowledge. It takes more concrete, which means more CO2. More resources, more copper for the wiring. Again, more resources. The amount of copper in one car, one electric vehicle, is more than 50 houses. I'll get into that in another video. Like I said, knowledge is key. They don't want you to know the truth. Government does not want you to think for yourselves. The government does not want you to think and know the truth. They want you like that horse down in New York City, pulling that little cart. You got blinders on, while the government's behind you, pulling your reins. Where you go is where they tell you to go. And I'm sorry that don't sit right with me at all. Yep. Hey, I could use some ice cream right now, but like I said, the government does not care about us whatsoever. These bitches are laughing at how stupid these people are. They're going in blind. It reminds me of the Jim Carrey movie, Dumb and Dumber. How can you tell the difference? They're both just as dumb. Because there's no knowledge in there. If brains is bird shit, most of these people cages are clean. Yeah, they have a good heart. They, hey Seagull, how you doing? Hey, yo, like I said, I see good, honest people that don't have a clue of what they're doing. They're that little gerbil on the fucking little wheel. They don't know why they're running. They just are. There's no rhyme or reason for it. They just are. We put that wheel in their dwelling. New idea. They inspect it. And they're out there running. Where? Most of these people out here today are dumber than a brick in a whorehouse. And they could be scientists, they could be doctors, they could be lawyers, what have you. But the last few decades, last couple at least, brain cells started going down. The government's power started going more and increased. They're stepping bounds where they should not be bounding, forcing us to be like sheep. I am no one's sheep. I eat sheep for breakfast. If I see any ounce of weakness, I will exploit that. I come to you tonight, last night, calling Fauci a doctor's like putting on a condom after he finds out his old lady's pregnant. Hey, Lisa B, how you doing, hon? Good seeing you again. You know, like I said, knowledge is key. With this videos that I'm doing last night, tonight, I'm hoping that you guys get a little bit more insight, a little bit more who is who. Are you really saving the planet? Are you really saving the planet by buying your electric vehicles? Not a chance. Nowhere near. You guys seen a few of those mines on how large those fuckers are. Those mines are not small by no means. It takes 2 hours to get to the bottom of one, if not a little bit longer. I was in one in Arizona. I want you guys to be able to start thinking for yourselves, to sit there and be someone we used to be. We used to be able to think for ourselves. We used to stand for something. We used to stand strong. Now, all I see people walking around like idiots. Like I said, if brains was bird shit, these guys' cages are clean. And yes, I've said this to several people's faces because we need knowledge. We need to stand up. The government's got you guys so freaking delusioned, it's not even funny. That's why I'm doing these videos for. I'm doing these because you guys need knowledge. You guys need more knowledge. You guys need to sit there and know more of what you're buying, whether or not it is right or wrong. As long as it makes you feel better that you're trying to do your part. Like I said, we need knowledge. With that being said, I'm cutting this one short because I got food to make. This fat boy needs a little bit of food. But I'm thankful. You know, I looked at my numbers the other day and I was shocked because of the amount of people that I have as subs. I'm grateful for every one of y'all that are here sub to me because, like I said, it to me it means everything. Without y'all being here, I wouldn't really be here. You guys make my day. I don't care if there's one person in the chat. I don't care if there's 100 people in the chat. I don't care if there's no people in the chat. It's just the fact that you guys are here. You guys are sub to me, and I'm thankful for it. Even my little stalker troll bitches that try to get my goat. Don't you guys remember? I don't tolerate that shit. You're coming in as trolls. I will tear you apart. And after I tear you apart, everybody in chat will have fun at you. But either way, you hate me, you like me, you're still sub to me for a reason. I'm grateful for that. I'm thankful for all you guys here, you know, because you guys make my day. I'm hoping with these videos that I'm doing on this that I'm able to help at least one person start to think for themselves, whether or not their choice is the right one. Instead of being forced into this, I want to be able to have a person go up and understand fully of what they're doing, what they're taking, what they are getting into. From process of getting it out of the ground to right out to your doorstep. I've only hit just a small amount. Like I said, I've spent hours and hours going through videos, going through these, going through that, going through back and forth. So that way I can bring knowledge to you guys. So that way you guys can understand a little bit more. Light that fire under you guys' asses. To sit there and start helping make a difference. By giving you guys knowledge Means that I'm doing my part by encouraging you guys to do better. I trying to encourage you guys to do better for yourself. You guys rock. We love y'all here. And as I always in this, if you can make a person smile, if you can make a person laugh, do it. It don't take much. It does not take much at all to make someone smile, to encourage one another, to build one another up. It takes more energy to spend hate than it does to spend a smile. When I walk around town, every time I see someone say, "Hey, how y'all doing?" I don't know them from Adam to Eve. But I sit there and I still say, "Hey, how y'all doing?" I encourage them. But we need more encouragement. Help one another, lift one another up. It don't matter what branch of service you're in, will be in, or was in, whether it be the Navy, Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard, National Guard, Army. Hoorah! You got our love and our support here 100%. It don't matter what club you're in, Diamond Club, Mom and Pop Riding Club, 99% Club, no club. Don't matter what you ride. It's just a matter of the fact that you're out there riding, you're enjoying the wind. Your ride, your journey, not mine. Mine's alongside you. To enjoy those journeys, to enjoy those freedoms of the road. Not to tell you what you can and cannot ride. Because, like I said, it's not my journey, it's yours. So get out there, ride. Ride your ride. Enjoy your journey. When you come up against like minded morons, enjoy the journey. It's not a race, it's an adventure. I love you guys. I'm thankful for you guys being here. You guys are great. Thank you for showing up. Dragon, as always. Seagull, good to see you here. Lisa B, always welcome here. Uh, Rebel, Too Tall, Hillbilly Man, Betty, y'all, everybody that came in here, even the lurkers, the ones that didn't say anything. Thank you for coming in here. Thank you for making my day. Said I'm hoping that I can teach someone something. I'm hoping these videos are making a standpoint. Let's make a difference. Let's make a difference together. With that being said, we're thankful. Another day above ground is another day to be thankful.